I'm Amy of Handmaiden. This is my monthly podcast where I talk about what I've created in the past month and also let you know about anything that's new on the website for Handmaiden. I'm coming to you from Southland in New Zealand, and yeah, so today I guess we'll start with what I'm wearing. This is the DRK Everyday Cardi by Mary. I've shared it on here before, and again I'll link in the show notes below the Ravelry and the projects and the patterns and things, so you can go check them out. The yarn that I knit it in is Mountain Meadow Wool, and it is the yarn that Andrea wrote the pattern for. I treated myself last year and bought some of this yarn in just to experience it and see what it was like. It is rather delicious to work with, and I've got a current project on my needles with the leftovers from this cardi. It's beautiful. I love knitting with it. It's like the next best thing to hand spun yarn, I reckon. Yeah, DRK Everyday Cardi. Then this is my finished object for the month, the Two Friends Shawl, and in last month's podcast I shared the progress of it. It's knit up in 2 different sock yarn bases, obviously 2 different colourways. That Cat of Broom Stitch dyed, Clairvoyance, and another beautiful, whatever this nice yellow colour is called. Again, check out the show notes if you want all the colourway details. And I'd held a strand of gold sparkle in some of the yellow, yeah, just to add a bit of sparkle, but I didn't do all the yellow with it because it wasn't the softest. That gold nylon-y stuff that I was knitting in there was a bit coarse. But yeah, it was a great on the go project, being garter stitch. It didn't matter where you put it down or where you were going to pick it up from, because it was all a nice easy to pattern to remember and do on the go. Other finished objects, socks. I just went in my Ravelry before I started recording and I finished 7 pairs of socks this month, 3 of which have gone to travel the world. They've gone off to different places, America, Paris, yeah, they're going around the world, so that's cool. And I think Lily got a pair and Regan got a pair, and even I got a pair this month, which is lovely. One of those 7 pairs I successfully cranked on my NZ auto knitter, so the circular sock knitting machine making a tube. I've been working away, like getting little moments to learn on it, but ideally I want to be able to do the full sock and turn the heel and the toe, or like make a whole sock in one go, not just crank a tube and then cut in and do afterthought heels. So it was very exciting to get 2 socks the same length and size and everything. I'll show you now. Are you up for some sock talk? I've successfully ribbed, so the ribbing's over the top of the foot there, all the way ribbed on the leg, all the way around, and then I've got into a 1-in-1 rib for like the top of your leg there. And it's just as beautiful on the inside. You can see it was more of a 3-in-1 ribbing that I did for the top of the foot. But yes, so it meant that I can rib it and turn the heels and toes, and there be no seam in that ribbing. Like, all that happens is you graft the top of the toe stitches closed. Whereas when I knit a sock on my my flatbed Passip knitting machine, it cannot do the rib in the round, so I end up with, I don't know if you can see, but there's a wee seam there. I have to sew the rib closed. So the rib is done flat, and then I go into the stockinette stitch, and it can do that in the round, and it's all seamless and lovely, and I can turn the toes and the heel all in one. It's just the seaming up of the rib, which now that I can do on my NZ auto knitter, they're all going to be seamless, which is exciting for me. Yeah, enough sock talk. Other finished object is, this is sewing now. I put a final push on finishing my quilt, and on my personal Instagram you could, if you were interested in seeing the whole quilt, there's a wee video on there that Regan helped me take so I could show the whole quilt off. This is the Zip It quilt by Jansen, and I started this at the beginning of January as part of a sew along. Yeah, so I think it was over about 3 weeks. People were cutting their pieces together and quilting that together. I only recently finished my quilting though and put the binding on. The original pattern has some more quilting lines that run horizontally through here. I've used an old wool blanket as the batting inside mine. I found it so heavy for my sewing machine. There were even a few broken needles in the process that I decided I was not going to do any more quilting. I've quilted it stitched in the ditch, most of it down here, so it's got more than enough quilting to hold it together, and I wasn't going to go through the process of putting more horizontal lines. Like, I love the texture that Emma's achieved with her original one, but mine is going to look like this, and I'm happy with it. And it's lovely. Such a nice weighty blanket for the winter time, I reckon. So yeah, if you want to see the whole thing, go find me on Instagram. Finished objects, I think that is all. Works in progress is my Tin Can Knits Lullaby blanket. I've definitely done a bit more since last month when I showed you. Ooh, pretty. This is now, I've definitely moved through there's 25 colours. Done the 25 and I'm back into this purpley blue department down here. So it's going to go back through the colours again. It's magical. It's almost like hypnotising, the wiggliness of it. Very happy with that. It was an advent that Amelia had dyed for me of Not All New. And yeah, I really wanted the best use of, I wanted to use all of the advent up. Happy with that. It's beautifully drapey and it's going to be such a nice blanket when it's finished. Lullaby blanket by Tin Can Knits. Stitch stoppers. Maybe I'll tell you more about these later. Check them out. They're new on the website. And then the other thing I cast on is Sonrae. Beautiful. By Jenn Steingass. I have made quite a few of her patterns. I love how she writes them and also how her sweaters fit my body. Like, I guess some things work for your shape and some things don't. Jenn's fit me well and I like how they fit me. She is Knit Love Wool. You go find Jenn on Instagram. But again, I'll link the pattern in the show notes for you. So I am using Mountain Meadow wool, some left over from this cardi, and then a beautiful greeny sage colour I bought at the same time. And I just could, I don't know, I could just imagine a colourwork sweater made out of those colours. So, early days, but it's coming along and it is delicious to knit. It's going to be rather warm though. Like, I feel the density in of that bit of fabric it's creating, and it's going to be definitely a cold winter's day sweater. More cute stitch stoppers that are new on the website. Yep, there's my progress. I think that's all I'm working on at the moment. Yeah, in the way of knitting. There are quite a few collaborations in the pipeline, which is exciting. There, obviously, Jan from Crofters Yarn, that has organising the train trip from Dunedin to Oamaru. I have been working on dyeing custom gobstoppers for that, like inspired by what I think of Otago and yeah, Oamaru and stuff like that. So those colours, and it's 5 colour striping, which is a first for me. Normally I dye 4 colours, like self-stripe 4 colours, but this is going to be 5 colours. So yeah, that's kept me busy. I've got a basket of deliciousness over here, but I'm not prepared to show you. All will be revealed in March at Dunedin train station. Yeah, actually on the day. I'll keep it on the download till then, I think. But it's exciting. The other pipeline collaboration going on is Diana of Perfectly Imperfect Twists. Diana is designing a shawl pattern in my self-striping yarn, and the dream is to release that pattern sometime soonish, so that if people wanted to, they could join along and knit a shawl, and then when we all turn up to festival in Southland in May, we can have a photo all together with our shawls in my yarn and Diana's design. That's exciting. And then the other collaboration is with Haunui, Harriet of Haunui Wool. I'm very excited to be asked to dye up some beautiful braids for her. More details to come soon. So for Handmaiden, February's colourway for the Yarn and Fibre Club was beautiful purples, because February's birthstone is Amethyst. I have a few braids on the website. There is no yarn left, and the wee bit of yarn that was undyed, I dyed and made gobstoppers in the same 3 purples, but they have also found homes. So this is February's colourway, and Amethyst also has a wee stitch marker. That's a wee amethyst. This was dyed up on 100% Polworth base, and I have spun this, but I don't have the skein to show you, and it was delicious. I do love Polworth, the squishy and how it like blooms after it's had a bath. Yeah, feel free to grab one of those. Otherwise, I'm thinking what else is at Handmaiden. Oh, I did all the Valentine's sock sets, and you guys loved those, and I've got a couple left in the red. Yeah, it was red and pink and white. It was such a fun colourway, self-striping, and I thought it would look delicious with chocolate toes and heels. Like I had a vision of how the socks would look knit up. So there's a couple of sets on there, and they're just under sock sets rather than under the gobstopper kind of listings. And each one of these sets comes with some matching stitch markers. Love it. I think they're both sparkly. So if you like the twinkle, you're in luck. And then the other wee stitch marker set, these are individually on the website now as well, is the wee candy hearts. They're on there. And then obviously the stitch stoppers, like what I showed you before on my works in progress. There's a selection of different gnomes in different colours, and they're all cute. And I was even surprised that they all had a little something on the back of their hats. I was like, oh, they're so cute. And then the Easter chicks. Where are you? Here. Easter chick. Too cute. Why has everything got hair on it today? Easter chick. Lovely. And then also during the past month, I caught up with Amelia of Knot All New and went to her place. This is before school started back as well. And Lily, my daughter, came with me. Amelia invited us over to do some marbling, because she was marbling to like cover her kids' school books and stuff already when they went back to school, and invited Lily and I around to have a play. So Lily got carried away and did some amazing stuff, but I'll just show you a couple of things. We did some on paper. I've pulled out some of my faves for you. Ooh, so good. There was a lot more to it than I realised. Amelia was an amazing tutor, and we even I'm thinking about mortarting the wool, but when you natural dye it, we used an alum to prepare the paper and the fabrics before we marbled on it to make the colour more colour fast. So yeah, there was much more to it, not just drop some stuff in the water and dip your paper in. Yep, love that. Heaps of fun. Lily's covered her books and taken them to school and was very proud of them to show her friends and her teacher how cool their books looked. And then we also did some on fabric, so like a calico. This one hasn't had the comb run through the blobs of colour, so it's made that beautiful pattern. And then last but not least in my marbling, I took my Chuck Taylors, my All Stars, and they were white, grubby white, and we dipped those, and I reckon they are amazing. I'm very happy with how they turned out. Thank you, Amelia, for all your help. Here's the other one. It's a bit weird showing my shoes on here. Yeah, they're sisters, not twins. That's what we decided. But they look awesome, and I feel cool wearing them. Yeah, so I think that's all from me this month. Yeah, hopefully get to see some of you on the train, either in Dunedin or in Oamaru. But yeah, hopefully catch up in March with some of you. That would be super cool. Come say hi, introduce yourself. I try really hard to recognise everyone and remember everyone's names. Otherwise, come down in May to Gore to the festival that I'm organising on the 2nd of May. I'd love to see you there and yeah, chat with you in person. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next month.